All right. Really, really happy to be talking to Jayli Wolf today. You've got quite a bit going on right now. I mean, this is, you seem to have, you got a lot of plates in the air, as they say.
Yeah, it's been a very incredibly busy year. Some days I'm just feel overwhelmed, grateful. I'm just like, this is the most exciting life. And then other days I'm gonna be honest, I'm like, I'm losing it. I can't keep things together. Like
Yeah. Yeah.
things are falling apart and yeah.
Well, you put out the EP a little earlier in the year, Wild Whisper, and now you've got a song that is dropping on a very, very important day this year, because this is the first time nationally we're recognizing this National Day of Truth and Reconciliation. This has finally become something that's going to be on the calendar every year, and you've got a song that's going to be coming out on that day. So you must feel pretty proud that all this is happening, and then that you're going to be a part of this, market. You'll be able to always look back and say, my song came out on that day, the first time that was recognized nationally.
That's beautiful. I honestly I haven't thought about it. Is that
Well,
awesome?
it's a
Yeah.
it's a big deal, and I think it's something that you'll be able to look back on and go, wow, like, not many people can say that. That's pretty cool.
Thank you. I appreciate that. I feel like reconciliation is something that I've been thinking about a lot this year. Every year since I've learned that I was Indigenous, I've been thinking about what it means to reclaim my culture, and reconciliation is something that I feel like it's definitely more on the table now with my friends. They're coming to me, talking to me, asking me questions, and it's really interesting the shift that's happened this year. And part of me is excited about it, and part of me is like, I don't want to have too much hope for
Hmm.
change because I'm scared that things won't change. And even, I'm just gonna say it, like even just having this day, like I just hope that the action
Yeah.
happens as well.
Well, and that's the thing, like I speak to a lot of my friends, and a lot of people are saying, well, is everything that the entire world doing right now seem too forced? Everyone seems to be tippy-toeing around everything. Everyone seems to be making sure they're politically correct, and that all these things are coming to the forefront. But I really believe that you need that massive push. You need that massive, like,
Oh
hey,
yeah,
we need to recognize this to
to
get people.
balance it, right?
Yeah, and I think it's important, and I think it's, it's been too long where people have felt that their voices haven't been heard. So this is the positive thing I believe social media does. It puts things out there, and it really forces, pressure to the certain places that make decisions. I think there's this
Yeah.
pressure that happens where you're like, we've got to make a decision here. So that, I think, is a great thing. And yes, you have seen a huge shift in the last year when it comes to to people looking at Indigenous issues, and I think it's great. I was talking to the hallucination guys a couple weeks ago, maybe a couple months ago, talking about their album coming out, and they were saying, like, there's just all this interest around them / A Tribe Called Red, and they're saying, like, we've always been here, we've always been doing our thing,
Yeah.
but
Yeah.
it's just what happens sometimes. I think it's cyclical. I think it's things that are getting pushed to the front, but I'm glad that they are.
Yeah, definitely. Well, so many people actually weren't aware of the true history that
Yeah.
this country has. And, it's mind-blowing that people aren't aware, but it's, education has failed us gravely. And yeah, so I'm glad that these things are coming to the forefront so that, so many more people in this nation can start to wake up and take part in actually, doing the work of reconciliation.
Right. Tell me a bit about the single "Lead Me."
So, Lead Me is a song that I wrote when I was thinking a lot about addiction and obsession with substance and people. And I wrote it during a time where I was really trying to take my power back and direct my life as much as anyone can. Um, yeah, so I wrote it. It's the fight in me.
Yeah.
The lyric is, I won't let you lead me, because it's me fighting through that and
Right.
really trying to take my power back.
Um, I was someone who grew up with, with lots of different decades of music, but the '90s really marked me. For me, I found that there was something special that happened in '90s music where it was kind of like there was no rules, and there was a real uh, surgence of strong female artists that came up in the '90s. When I listened to you, it brought me, made me think of some stuff like PJ Harvey, a little bit of Tori Amos. So did you grow up on any of that stuff?
Thank you. That's such a compliment. I grew up on Elvis. Like my grandparents.
So far from what I was looking to.
Yeah, my grandparents raised me.
Okay.
So my grandmother listened. I was a Jehovah's Witness, so I listened to a lot of what she would play, and it
Right.
was the religious music.
Right.
And then they're called Kingdom Melodies, which
Mhm.
yeah. And then as well, she loved Elvis, and she would put this channel on the TV that was like her oldies, kind of like the stuff she loved. So that's sort of the music that I had. My grandfather was like he was an alcoholic, and he was just like someone who didn't really have any interests besides alcohol and work. So that was really the only musical influence that I had.
As you got older, did you start to discover, obviously you started to discover more stuff on your own?
Yeah, definitely. I started to listen to really sad music though. Like I
Okay.
got into okay, so I listened to like Keaton Henson
Okay.
and Bright Eyes,
Okay.
and that's like literally the music that I love so much, just because I feel very understood.
Right. It's kind of like in the 80s when a lot of kids would be listening to stuff like The Cure and gothy stuff. That's kind of, I remember that. I remember that period too, the Joy Division period. Like I'm a huge Joy Division fan. So I get that, you know, sometimes you need to go to that sad place to be able to create. And I think, I don't know, there's just something special in your music that I really, really like. I like it a lot. And I think there's a lot of potential there. And I'm really excited for people to hear it. I'm excited for people to really discover you more as an artist. Cause I think you're just starting out, and it's just going to climb from here.
Thank you so much. I really, really appreciate that. I felt like I started to write the whole EP just for my own healing, and I wasn't sure that I was going to put it out into the world at all. But I'm really glad I did, because it's also been through like receiving the feedback and having people open up about their stories and the things that they've gone through that has really just like catapulted me, like really getting my feet on the ground and just feeling whole again.
Well, I think that's what you, and when you listen to Wild Whisper, you kind of get that vibe that you have someone who's kind of putting it all out there, you know, and I guess you can kind of hear the growth in the songs a little bit too.
I appreciate that. Thank you.
Now this is switching gears a little bit, but I'm a big comic book nerd.
Oh yeah, yeah. Why the Last Man?
I gotta ask you about Why the Last Man, because this is a graphic novel that, you know, all of us comic nerds, I mean, when this story was first brought into the world, it was like, whoa, this is totally different. And this is, you know, we're going back a while now. You know, when the first Why the Last Man came out, it's got to be 15 years, maybe.
Yeah, I heard it was like 20 years.
Yeah, so it's been a while. So it's so topical now, you know, and I think now's the time where this series it's gonna find its audience, and the fact that you're a part of that. How excited are you about this?
Oh my goodness. I have been on such a high ever since I started filming. For the first like 2 weeks of filming, I didn't sleep. I was having the most brutal insomnia I've ever experienced. It's just crazy to be a part of this, because it was all female directors, so many female crew members. It was a predominantly female cast. I'd never been a part of something like that. I did things for the show that I could have only dreamed of doing, and I got to do it on camera. And I guess I can't say too much, but
yeah, no, of course.
But my character, her name's Laura / Athena, and I'm part of the Amazons, which is an absolute wild crew of people. And I got to work with Missy Pyle, and honestly, like, just working with her alone, I've never laughed so much in my entire life. It was a beautiful experience. I don't even know how to put it all into words.
And for people that don't know, who aren't familiar with the source material, Why the Last Man is basically a story about all of the men in the world all of a sudden dying, and there's one man that's left, and the entire planet is just women and one man.
One man and
his monkey. Yeah. So it's a brilliant premise, and it's crazy the ride that this book goes on, because I've read quite a few of them. And it's just like it's
it's what happens after the cataclysmic event, basically. Right. So there's some setup, and then it's like you get to see all these different worlds develop and follow really, you know, just unique individuals around, and it's really, really wild. It's fun.
Yeah. I think you're going to have a lot of fun with this. And when you get to, have you done a Comic-Con yet? Have you been?
I have never never.
Yeah.
I have never,
So
and I want to so
yeah,
badly.
when you do your first Comic-Con, once people start to really get on this show, you're going to see it's like it's a whole other ballgame. Like people are just
Yeah.
crazy for this stuff. So that's going to be a lot of fun.
I have friends that are really into it, and I think it's amazing. I can't wait to experience it.
What do you have coming up after this? Like, do you have a lot of stuff scheduled?
Yeah, I do. I'm going to be filming another show November.
Okay.
And then for like the next month and a half or so, I'm going to be writing my EP and doing song camps. And like I have a lot of other stuff with the music going on. So
Okay.
it's already booked. My whole year is already booked. I'm kind of hoping for next year to take some downtime and like read a novel or
Yeah, yeah.
yeah.
Well, I just want to thank you for taking the time today. I'm really excited for people to hear "Lead Me." I think this is going to be like I mentioned, this is a great pairing for for that first national holiday and continued success. I mean, I think you've got great energy, and I think you're going to do really, really well.
Thank you so much. I really appreciate it. It's so nice talking to you.